Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in again. So for today's video, we're back with another dance practice analysis. And I mean, you guys already know the drill. We're just gonna go through it bit by bit and I'm gonna point out the things that work and the things that maybe don't work so well. So yeah, let's do it. So for today's video, we're going to be breaking down Chungha's Stay the Night dance practice. I personally really love this song and this choreo and just this whole comeback really was spectacular. One, because it's Chungha and we love Chungha. And the choreography itself was just really creative. And so yeah, I kind of want to go through it and point out how amazing it is. But yeah, no, we love our girl Chungha and that's why we're here. So let's do it. And okay. I love this like flower formation thingy that they've got going on. It's just, and it gets bigger as the music progresses, and I love how they're just like slowly taking up more space. Play. Chungha is so good. She's so good. Okay, sorry. I need to like compose myself. But Chungha is such a good performer. We've only been watching this for like 30 seconds, but I'm already like so struck by her and her presence. She's stellar. She's amazing. She's got such like clean lines. Look at that. Look at those arms. The extension. Ooh. I never noticed before because it's been a while since I've watched this, but the dancers are using stools. And I love that because it creates levels. Also, floor work, amazing. I feel like Chungha just really loves to use floor work. It's like a staple in most of her choreographies. And we're pausing. Okay, so that moment right there in the pre-chorus where they all just kind of froze. Sorry, my brain turned off. Where they all just kind of froze and started singing along to the lyrics. That was just, it was perfection. Ugh, I love that. It's such a good moment of like stillness. Because before, like, we had like lots going on. Like there were dancers on the floor, there were dancers on stools, there's Chungha right in the middle. She's doing her thing, she's slaying. And then boom, stillness. And it's just, it's so inventive and it's so, they use that a lot throughout the choreo, but it's just, they know how to pick their moments. It's great. Okay, let's keep going. This whole performance is just, it's so cunty. So good. The song is also such a bop. Plus they travel so much. Like she was like crossing back and forth in front of the camera. Okay. So as much as I love this choreo, I do have like one minor gripe with this, and it's those like cuts, those like big cuts in the choreo where they cut from like one formation to a completely different formation. And it kind of takes me out of the performance. And even like back then when I was first watching it, when the song first dropped, it still like took me out of the moment. But we'll talk more about that later. It's just like the one minor thing about this choreography that I didn't love. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for now. Everything else is stellar. Like this part is like burned into my memory. It's so with the whoever choreographed this is a genius. And Chungha just sells it so well. That kick. And again with the stillness. Oh, amazing. Okay, so this is one of the things that I think the choreography does really well, is it takes the principles and kind of ideas that it introduces in the beginning and then just builds on them throughout. Like right here, again in the pre-chorus, we had that moment of stillness, but instead of with the male dancers, we're using the female dancers, and quite a few female dancers compared to before. So not only is it getting bigger, but they're also kind of layering in that stillness a bit more, because first you had like the dancers in the front moving and the dancers in the back were still, and now here again you've got the dancers in the front kind of frozen in this pose, and Chungha and the girls in the back are doing their thing. So you see what I mean? How they're kind of like expanding on that idea of that idea of stillness that they introduced before. It's just, it's genius. Again, we're traveling. I love how they have a lot of dancers in this performance, because again, it makes the performance feel bigger. This part goes so hard. And I love that the dancers have their own moment to shine. Like, look at that, look how big that performance looks. And again, we're layering in that stillness. And now it's just Chungha, and the rest of the dancers in the back are... And they just circle back to that flower motif. It's perfect. It's perfection. Do you see what I mean about them building on previous concepts? Like first they started with the flower and it was kind of small and just centered around Chungha, but then they bring it back at the end. She's in the center still, but the dancers are completely behind her and they're all like, the flower has bloomed, you know? It's just genius. Absolutely, completely genius. I'm gonna watch this one more time just for funsies, and then we'll be back for thoughts, because I have so much going on in my head right now. I need some time to gather myself. I'll be right back. Okay, so thoughts. We just like take a moment to appreciate how incredible of a performer Chungha is. I feel like people don't fully appreciate her prowess as a performer. She is stellar. Probably one of the best female performers in all of K-pop. And I mean that so seriously. How many people could pull something like that off? Not very many, but Chungha did, and she slayed. But yeah, now that I've got that out of the way. So while we were watching the dance practice, I mentioned how the choreography builds on certain concepts and ideas that it introduces in the beginning. And I mentioned specifically the stillness and the flower motif, but it kind of does that throughout the entire choreography, particularly in the choruses, because if you go back and watch it, you'll notice that the first chorus is relatively small. It's just Chungha and a couple of the male dancers, and then for the second chorus, you've got Chungha with a lot of female dancers, and just again, it looks bigger. And then for the final chorus, it's Chungha with all of the dancers, male and female. What I like about that is that it shows this kind of growth and progression, and like I said, it's building on those concepts that it introduces in the beginning, but in just kind of new and fresh ways, which I really loved. That's why this is such a great performance, because it's so fun to watch, because with each chorus or each section of the song, we're getting the same concepts, but just done in a different way. So let's talk about now the principles of movement. The thing that's kind of fascinating about this one is that it doesn't ebb and flow between the principles as much as some of the other choreographies that we've watched on this channel. I think the most kind of like well balanced of the concepts is the concept of time. They ebb between fast and slow pretty, what's the word? Pretty consistently throughout the choreography. But in terms of like weight, I would say that a lot of the movements are more light than heavy. In terms of direction, it's very direct, like primarily throughout the entire choreography, rather than indirect. I think the reason that it's able to stay in like these singular modes for so long, or for so much of the choreography without us losing interest, is because they're doing cool, inventive things. And it's just very interesting in and of itself to watch, especially with all those formation changes throughout, and that keeps us engaged and focused. And then it's also really good at picking its moments on when to switch it up, when to go slow, when to go heavy. It's very clever in that sense. And it kind of draws you in while you're waiting for that next moment of like, what are they gonna do next? It's spectacular. It's genius. It's genius. It's genius. Okay, let's talk about my gripe with the choreography, my singular gripe with this. So I mentioned how I didn't love those cuts / transitions in the choreography. Well, they're not really transitions, they're just straight cuts into new formations. And what I don't love about that is that it kind of cuts the momentum of the performance. So if this were to be performed live the way it is, you would have to stop the performance in order for all of the dancers and Chungha to get into their next position. So if you're constantly like stopping and starting a performance, it just cuts your momentum to shreds and it takes people out of that moment. Like you've got people so engaged because they've got such an incredible choreography, and then all of a sudden it's cut. It takes you out of it. You're like, oh, why are we stopping? Like, I don't want this to stop. Keep going. But that's if it were to be performed live. And so the reason it's not that big of a deal is because this performance was created to be filmed, not really performed on a live stage. But as a person who loves live performance, I have that knowledge that if this were to be performed live as is, those cuts it would kill the energy, kill the momentum, and that's the last thing I want because it's a great choreography and Chungha does so well in this performance. But like I said, it was made for the camera, not for the stage. But yeah, I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. And lastly, let's talk about the woman of the hour, Miss Chungha. Because like I mentioned earlier, she is a stellar performer. Such a good dancer, such a good singer, and just such a good performer. So like I said in the spider video a couple weeks ago, dancing is also acting. That's selling of the concept that you're presenting to an audience. And Chungha does it so well, kind of like Hoshi does. It's a lot of the way that you commit to the movements and the choreography, but it's also, again, that acting portion of it. And the facial expressions that you're doing. And if you watch Chungha closely, throughout the performance, she's got such an intense glare that you're like, she like locks you in. She just sells it. She just sells it just with her face alone. Like that kind of like cold, intense glare that she has. It sells the concept of the song so well. It's like, I'm not doing a great job here, but that's all she does. But that's enough to draw you in, and it's perfection. So yeah, overall, Corey's great, Chungha's great, her dancers are great, everything is spectacular. It just is. It's spectacular. We need more performances like this in K-pop. Yeah, okay. I think I've run out of things to say, so I'm gonna just cut it there. Peace. Well, that was the video, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and for staying to the very end. Oh, this one was great. This one was amazing, incredible, spectacular. This is just amazing. I'm running out of adjectives. Chungha did a great job. The choreographer who choreographed this did a great job, and just major props to everybody, including the dancers, because they slayed. But yeah, I need her to come back with new music immediately. The world needs her music, and we'll be better for it when she comes back. Anyways, let me know what your favorite moment of the video was, and if you have any other Chungha songs that you think that I should take a look at, or songs by any other artists that you want me to check out, I'd love to hear them, so leave those down for me in the comments below, and maybe one day I'll get to them. But yeah, that's it for me, so don't forget to like and hit that subscribe button because it helps me out a lot, and I will see you very soon with some more new content. Peace out. You hear it cracking. I feel so old. Actually, that's better. But now I'm blind. And that's all I'm gonna say on that, because yeah, that's it. Take one. I don't know what to say.